Are we gonna like hide the comments again?
We'll have them, but we won't address them.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jason.
Hi, I'm Kim.
We're gonna do that talking thing. Episode 4, A New Hope. No, is it Star Wars jokes?
It should be called There Is No Hope.
There is no hope.
It's been a week.
We're tired. It's been a week of.
It's hard to get back from a trip.
Yeah.
To dogs that are sick and kids that sleep schedules are out of whack and
sleeping on those hard ass beds at the campgrounds was
so
pretty
good.
Tough, but compared to this week, it wasn't so bad.
I'm looking back on that. I'm like, I slept well. I think we were moving a lot. We were eating well. We were rested.
Yeah,
we were low stress.
Okay.
You couldn't sleep on a lot of surfaces after those beautiful events of your day.
We just had dogs and kids waking us up every couple hours in the night. We don't have to. That's not on the list, but we get a construction update. I haven't looked. They installed insulation today.
Yep. All I know is it was pink.
Yeah.
It
oh
was
my God.
Large.
Who told me? Oh my God.
They're okay.
The dogs are fighting over toys. Excitement. I bet they heard that one. Remember I said they can't hear the dogs in the background?
They saw our reaction like,
that one
whoa.
was heard. Whoa.
Kids. What is that?
You know what? They haven't put the drywall up yet, so the insulation is visible. But my brother, who did a lot of construction in the Air Force, told me that, look out for your contractor skimping on quality of materials. And one of the ones you should look out for is like what kind of insulation they're using. So we should see like what grade of insulation we were quoted and is supposedly approved.
Remember how Eric watches this?
And then, Eric,
R21.
So if you skimped on the insulation, I'm going to find out. No, we should go down and check the insulation. We definitely, we got to pay attention.
Yeah.
If they make mistakes, cheers. We get the drink for that.
For the dog.
Is that kind of whining? I don't know. It counts as the dog whining.
My
if they
heart.
Eat each other. So, what else is going on? I don't know if there's I haven't seen the installation, so we'll have to go down and see it.
I'm excited.
Next Monday, are they cutting the road next Monday? Is that what happens next Monday?
I think that they're supposed to begin digging.
Looking for the septic lines.
This is the part that scares me the most.
Okay.
So expect next week to be worse than this.
More nerve-wracking,
more nerve-wracking.
Stressful,
yeah.
stressful around.
More stressful.
Construction stress. Lots of plumbing. Maybe we can move on then. First item, I actually have you to introduce this.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You added this topic, but so if you don't know us, we run a membership plugin for WordPress sites called Paid Memberships Pro. And some recent news that you may or may not have heard is another membership plugin for WordPress that's called Restrict Content Pro was acquired by iThemes, which is owned by a hosting company called Nexus or Liquid Web. Yeah. They have kind of two names. So if you know the name Nexus, is that how you say it? If you know the name Liquid Web or you know the name Restrict Content Pro, that's an iThemes, that's all one family now. Yeah. So it's interesting to see when you yourself own a membership plugin in WordPress to see a movement like that happen. Yeah. And you talk.
I feel I feel some of our audience might expect us to talk about current events in WordPress. So this is a big one and it affects us and it's definitely something we talked about. So I didn't want to shy away from it.
No, it affects us. I mean, it.
It's
in the world of.
Yeah, I mean, it's on our radar. We can make this another topic is about competition.
Right.
We think about competition. Sometimes people assume they're like, don't you know, like, this competing plugin does it. Like, I'm like, no, I never install them. I never run them. I don't think about them. I don't visit their homepage too often. Like we really, we know our customers, we know our software, and we're focused on our product. And there's plenty of room for, competition in this space. Right. So it's kind of like, we don't have to, directly compete. We're like competing, but like, we don't have to, they're not on our radar. That said, we're aware of all the competitors, and Restrict Content Pro is a important one. They weren't the largest competitor. Like the largest competitor is probably WooCommerce with WooCommerce subscriptions, like in the WordPress space. But then we also compete with like Patreon and Substack and like all these different things. So
Mighty Networks and
your membership. So like, I mean, there's the competition landscape is pretty complicated, but I used to always say Restrict Content Pro was the most similar to how ours works in the sense that our membership platform is like built in the WordPress way and it's friendly for developers. And that in that sense. And so we built Paid Memberships Pro around the same time Pippin was building Restrict Content Pro back in the day. And we didn't know about each other. And we met kind of like a couple years later at a work camp, and we're like, if we had known that we were each independently trying to solve this problem, we probably would have done it together, and that would have been really interesting. Because in open source software, it's not good when there's two people tackling the same issue in the same way. It's good when there's two people tackling the same issue in different ways. Like WooCommerce subscription is much different from how we tackle memberships.
Yes.
It works directly with WooCommerce. It doesn't stand alone. It also like kind of handles the subscription locally instead of integrating with the gateways. It's kind of meant, I don't know. It
doesn't have a built-in idea of membership either. It's a strict.
Oh, it's subscriptions. Yes. It's another membership.
So that's interesting too, to say like, I don't handle these pieces of this puzzle. I handle this single piece.
Right. Yeah. But I think both, and I guess I'm speaking for Pippin, it was like years ago, but I think both of our membership products came out like, oh, traditional e-commerce isn't good enough. There should be a specific e-commerce solution that's only memberships. And like, that's the base of both our products. And then like, let's build it in the WordPress way with hooks and filters, and let's do extensions and kind of, that's how we'll do it. And there's other differences between ours. I think they don't have a free product, or do they?
They do. It's called Restrict Content.
Oh, that's right. They didn't name their free product Pro.
They didn't name it Pro.
You should have done that. That would have been genius.
Just Tech Pro on there. Everyone will be confused. It's all data.
Yeah. So there are differences, but I always saw them as kind of in the sense of a competitor that is moving in the same direction of us. That was something that look out for. So it's interesting, and I think iThemes is a good home for them, and Liquid Web. I
have an account with Restrict Content Pro.
Oh, do you?
So I'm watching the change management, which is interesting.
Oh, you're
to watch. Yeah.
And
not in like a creeper way, just like this has to be done. Like the accounts have to be migrated. People have to know where to log in next. They have to be aware that the name on their bill may change and why, and that some of the team they used to maybe interface with on the support side are going to change, and they may have new faces and new systems that they have to use for that support channel. So it's interesting to watch from a business strategy standpoint how that's going on. Yeah.
I think like Liquid Web, through what they're doing with e-commerce hosting, have big plans for like e-commerce in the WooCommerce space and just online in general. And so it's interesting to see how Restrict Content Pro fits into that. But I also think the fact that the acquisition, I think it was only the products and the customers and not personnel. It wasn't an acqui-hire. I'm not sure. There might be some, there's a handful of people who worked on Restrict Content Pro, maybe 3 or 4. And I think they're staying with Sandhills.
Wow.
But I don't know, we'll see. But that's interesting that it was, so that makes it seem like, they're just buying a product for iThemes to sell. And iThemes knows how to sell products. Well, yeah, you talked about the change management. I'm sorry, I skipped over that. But that is interesting to me too, because one thing Pippin said in his write-up was that they've gone to, like, they try to keep each of their products separate, siloed, like in how they sell it and how they support it, just in case something like this would happen. Whereas we're kind of doing the opposite. Recently, we have the site-wide sales plugin, and we spent some time building like a Stranger Studio setup so that we could sell multiple products through the same setup.
I looked at the Delicious Brains website when I kind of imagined, because they have a few products, but it's one portal. It's one website that sells it all. It's one domain. And I think there could be arguments why either approach is a good approach.
And I know, I think I've heard Pippin complain in the past sometimes about how, because they're separate, it's like an improvement to one doesn't automatically happen to the other one. Yeah. And like they have to kind of learn they probably have the same people working in different systems. And it's like, how comes, and that you can figure that part of the technology out without actually making it all on one website.
Right.
But we were thinking, let's, put it all on one website. So it's one thing to manage, one code base, one, place to process and handle things. But it does make it less flexible if, or a bigger change management. If we sell site-wide sales and we just want to get rid of the product and not anything else, then it's like, oh, how do we move them out of our support system? I mean, I guess they have to do that with iThemes anyway. They want to move into like the iThemes support. So I guess you can try to predict, but you never know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I guess those are.
We talked last week about like the flattening. Or was that 2 weeks prior?
Of
the acquisition of plugins by hosting companies, by other larger plugin companies, like people getting into the space of running plugins without the close touch experience.
We were talking about buying plugins.
We talked about buying plugins ourselves, but we talked about the analytics plugin.
Yeah.
That got acquired by another analytics plugin, by another, and just that the flattening you see that, uninvested in an unacquired
consolidation
single product WordPress plugin businesses are going to be unique if this continues. Yeah. I
think there's too much synergy. I mean,
there is, but I don't know.
I want to like see what that shrug was about, but I guess I'll just state like, for example, hosting companies are buying product companies, just like this one, Liquid Web, and I mean, iThemes underneath it, but iThemes is at Liquid Web. Hosting companies have a need to both differentiate their hosting platform because it's been commoditized a bit, and Liquid Web does a good job. I posted a bunch of really nice things about them, and we're going to push more because their management WordPress is it's just really fast. And really good. So they're kind of differentiating technically, but it's not as visible, and even for me, like I talked like a year ago, I'm like, oh, that sounds like that would be really good. And you have to log in and actually experience the host and be like, oh, this is faster than other hosts. Whereas hey, when you sign up, you also get all these products for free. Or even just
they're not free.
Yeah. Or the sales funnel of people aren't always looking for hosting. They're looking for a membership site. They're looking for an e-commerce site. And the start of that funnel is not on Liquid Web's website. It's going to Restrict Content Pro on our website and stuff like that. So the hosts need to access. They both get access to the customers. They get a product to differentiate. And in this case, I guess they didn't acqui-hire, but when they acqui-hire, they get product expertise, which is good. And then on the side of us as plugin developers,
what does the dev get?
There's always a motivation to build a hosted version of our software.
Because that consolidates so many of the problems. Yeah. Well, there's so many problems that come with hosting and supporting, this widespread variety of hosts and their must-use plugins and their caching and their rules. And look at his face. Someone can read on your face.
Kim White's in the comments, and we were struggling with a really low-end host that had random restrictions and things. But if you own the hosting platform,
we see the value of
and
owning the hosting platform.
And developing, we have to develop in such a broad way, and we move kind of slow because it's open source. Whereas if we were just Patreon, it's I want a new feature, I push it out, and I know that every site is on the same exact stack. It's going to work.
You don't have to ask them to upgrade. It's mandatory. You woke up today and it's different. It's not like people on, 10 versions of your thing.
And I think the customer's perspective, I mean, we compete with plugins in this space where you're building your own website, but we also compete with Patreon and your membership. That's it's all a platform. It's all one thing. And so there's a number of customers who I just want to pay one person. I want to interface with one company. And so there's opportunity there.
Right.
And it's hey, we have the skills and all this stuff necessary to go after it. But But actually, like if you move in that direction, all the problems you have with these customers are hosting company problems of like, like how do you keep those websites on 99.999% of the time? And how do you handle like their questions about just, setting up email and websites and DNS?
Yeah. Like
that's something that hosting companies already do. So it makes sense to either partner with a hosting company or, become acquired by one to tackle that market together. And so I feel like that's also like something that draws in here. Plus, like I guess growing big, we talked about growing pains of growing a company where like, I'm assuming, I don't know how large Liquid Web is. I think it's hundreds of employees. Like, wow. Yeah. Like, we don't have to figure out what our, HR department rules and feedback is. They already have one, and so it's like, hey, just integrate it. Yeah, as our companies get to a certain size, it's kind of easier to just plug into another company.
For sure.
So that's happening. Yeah. And people are.
So, but I have this.
Oh, yeah. What was your shrug about? Yeah.
And maybe I have an idea of how I could, market research this or whatever. I think the membership site customer is very, very, very unique. An e-commerce customer in general is very unique.
Okay.
Right? Like, and the variety of types of sites and expectations and the length of the list of requirements for a membership type site is so diverse. It's very like it's a large, broad world of things that people need to understand, that the support people handling it need to understand, and it's going to be a painful learning experience. Compared to
iThemes' other products, like Restrict Content Pro is a little more.
I think just a membership product is, but I think what would be really cool is to find some other independent or not WordPress plugins that do a support like we do and like spend a day in their world and like see.
Support each other's products or just, shadow.
Just like see what types of questions they're getting. We have this like internal expectation that like our support's harder, the questions we get are more complex, that the issues people have.
Is that true? Yeah.
Is that really true? How could you really know?
We should. I'm sure people do that.
I would let someone shadow ours.
Actually, I think
it would like either validate or invalidate.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm calling them out. I'm pretty sure some folks from Give WP said they've done something similar in the past, and they wanted to do it with us. Either like record like video and share it. Yeah. So
that would be cool.
We should. I think someone just said like, "Hey, would you want to do this?" And we just got to follow up.
But I would love to do that.
Yeah. And that's pretty similar, but even like some, because it's also like kind of e-commerce related platform. But
we would learn a lot about like where's your hard line?
Yeah.
Are we crossing a hard line?
It's like an exchange program for support agents. Yeah. What if they like it better over there? And they're like, did you know like they get free lunch? And so it was like, we're a remote team. What are we gonna do? They're like, I don't know.
Their customers are never.
They get Grubhub every day. Their customers are really nice.
Fun.
Yeah.
As yours. So I'm staying.
Their t-shirts are nicer. Shoot, we haven't made a t-shirt in a while.
That would be interesting.
That would be nice. Yeah, we should do that.
And to learn other processes, other, just ways of doing.
We gotta do it. Take notes.
Like
I'm pretty sure it's come up. It's been offered. Okay. We should, and then anyone else, like the learning management systems have been another one that's kind of similar and related.
Or just maybe even like pre-sales email, like to see.
Yeah.
That might be enough. It doesn't have to be so close and internal and private,
All right.
That'd be fun.
We should move on.
Our dogs are being very odd.
What's going on? When they're odd, take a sip of wine. All right, next topic. I have a long list. I mean, maybe this is like a preface for this topic. I wrote an outline to our book we're writing.
Ooh.
Yeah, like the chapter outline. I'll share it with you. I think it needs some work. Some things could come and go. But what I want to do is like take every chapter and then that could be a topic. So every once in a while, I'm going to take what might be a chapter in the book or like a small section, and we'll talk about on the show.
Okay.
And I'll get you to write the book for us.
Hold on, pause. I think the problem is that Eden doesn't feel well and Nova wants to play.
Oh, okay. Should we help them?
I think we need to separate.
Dogs. We should just have a dog segment on the show.
What to show?
It'll be okay. Like she's a big girl. She can figure it out.
I know, but they might do that like fight thing again if she's like, she's just not wanting.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So that's the preface.
Reveal your topic for your chapter.
This one, the chapter title would be Karma is Real. And you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We talked about this a little last night, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
We came up last night too.
Let me remember.
This was, and I guess I'll tell the story and then you can chime in too.
Okay.
Back in the day when we did consulting, we had at this point kind of mostly moved towards WordPress and PHP. And we were kind of like an e-commerce specialty shop. We did like proof of concepts for Web 2.0 companies, like people who wanted to build apps. We did some, general consulting, but we had like at least 4 like e-commerce customers were like our big customers. Before we did membership specifically, we did e-commerce.
Like before WooCommerce was
WooCommerce wasn't a product. Jiggle Shop. There was WP e-commerce. Well, actually not even when we started.
Yeah.
Our product was called SS Products, and it was. I mean, we were like the cutting edge of e-commerce on WordPress at the time. There was no CPTs back then. This was like 2007, 2008. And WP e-commerce started to come out as like we had those 4 customers over a few years. But we were we were ahead of WP e-commerce. I guess that's like another topic too, but like how we compared to them.
I think I was just busy, growing a baby in my womb that I didn't notice all of this.
Would you have been pregnant when she said karma is real?
Yeah, I probably was pregnant.
It was around that time.
Yeah. Probably have the emails.
One of our e-commerce customers, Nicole, had a shop. I won't say the full name. Had a shop.
Nicolina.
And yeah, maybe her name may or may not have been Nicole. She had a store. It was cool. We did so many cool things for it. We built like FedEx API integration. I was pretty proud still of how we did options.
Yeah.
It was option sets and options because this site had
like
a bunch
variable,
of options and customizations.
Choose a product, add on and adjust.
Yeah, like an engraving or
patterns
something.
And are they price sensitive or
Right.
are they included?
It's crazy complicated. It was like hundreds of SKUs and 1,000 options.
Yeah.
It was a very complicated e-commerce site, and we built it from scratch on our platform. And we had to maintain it with like 3 other sites. That was hard. But through this time, we kind of were building our consultancy. She was making some money on the site, but it wasn't, an incredible amount of money.
No.
I think she's doing fine now, actually. So she probably doesn't matter if we talk about her.
You are confusing 2 different people. We'll
maybe
tell
I
you about
am.
that later. But okay.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not Nicole. So maybe it isn't. I'm not Nicole. I have a bad memory. But I do remember this. We like the basics of the story was as we were growing, like, hey, year after year, you're like, we should raise our rates. And we would. And when we, with some customers, we would just say, this is the new rate. With some, usually we would kind of grandfather them in. We'd give them like a year. We'd say, hey, we're raising from $25 an hour to $50 an hour.
I think it was like 35.
Was it even back then? Yeah. Like, so it was a while ago. We charged much more later on, but it was like, it was like 35 to 50. So it was like, we'll continue to do 35 an hour for you for the next year, but eventually we'll have to raise. And we did that. And then even after that, it's kind of like, it was $35 an hour. It's a long story, man. But it's
gonna be a longer.
We were doing work for her when we could, but we said like, hey, we can't really do it for 35. We have to focus on our customers who are paying us more. So we gave her that talk. It was like we want to still help you, and she had like issues with things, but we have to focus on these other customers that are paying us more. And then she's like, one of the emails was like, oh, I'm sorry, like your big customers, you gotta work on them and not me. But she felt like we were treating her really poorly. And when we split things off,
maybe most of you don't know us, but the people that know us, I would hope that they can vouch for like, that we're like authentic and caring, good, upstanding citizens in WordPress. We
were just straightforward and transparent. We were like, we want to help you. Your website is crazy complicated. It takes a lot of effort to maintain it.
Yeah.
By that point, there were other systems, but they wouldn't have worked for her because like they needed customization. That's why she came to us in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's like, we can support you at that rate.
Right.
If you pay us more, we can. And like, that's it. And you just have to be honest. And she didn't like that answer. It drug out. And then it was like, when it broke down, she famously like wrote in the email to us, like after
this is it, guys. Ready?
She said, karma is real. And how did it go? We should get the whole email. I should have prepared.
It was just a rant.
It just ended. Karma is real.
Karma is real.
Yeah, it was like capital R,
Yeah.
capital E, capital A, capital L. But it's funny. Anytime karma comes up in life, I think of this person or the wrong person. Actually, and now you're talking. I'm kind of confusing two different customers of ours.
I think they were both had the same name.
They were pretty similar. Were they both Nicole's?
They were similar. Yeah.
The other Nicole's doing well. This one's not, maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we're doing well. So
Yeah.
thanks, karma.
Yeah. Karma is
Yeah.
Karma is real.
Do you want to talk about karma and if you believe in karma?
Huh. Sure. Do you believe in karma?
No.
Oh, okay. It's like saying, do you believe in ghosts? And you're like, what do you mean by ghosts? What
I
do you mean
believe
by
in The
karma?
Secret.
Okay.
Is that karma? Is that a version of karma?
Maybe it's like you put out what you want and you get what you want because you're focused on it. But that's kind of the same thing. Is there like a mystical like scorecard, or there's a man with a beard and he's like, Jason did a good thing, I'm gonna do a good thing for him? No. But there is the general sense that if you put out positivity into the world, you'll notice positivity, you'll attract other positivity, and if you're a negative person who puts out negativity into the world, you'll attract negativity.
That is real.
And karma is real. Yeah.
That version, that explanation of karma is real to me.
And I guess in the business world, like,
but I think when you say like karma, you think like it's a reward, or I'm behaving in a way that gets me good things. Okay, so it feels very like religion. It feels like, the promised land. It feels like heaven or hell. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think the karma conversation feels like, more driven based on like, because you want good back, do good. But I think that The Secret is like, maybe it is the same. I think I'm more like, do good, be good, because
it's the right thing to do.
It's right, regardless of how you're treated or how
it feels good.
What comes back to you.
That's part of it.
Right.
It feels good to do good. I mean, if you're a good person, I guess maybe some people like
feel good
get
to
off
be
to
bad.
being bad. Yeah, I don't know. And in business is karma, like you don't want to burn bridges needlessly. Like you do want to have. That's probably why we're like, we're not going to raise the rates right away. We're going to help you anyway. We're going to, if there's a bug fix, I'm sure we even said like, if it's critical, your website goes down, we're going to fix it.
Right.
But I'm not going to add like a new variation on a random product for you.
The dog is crying. We could do a whole series just on interesting language people used with us in email, in phone conversations, and you see those like YouTube people that do their like 1-star review reads. Oh yeah. Jimmy Kimmel, was that what he does that? Like read your mean tweets? Neither of us are crummy enough to say like, let's out these people for their, because everyone took place in that relationship to get to that point where that 1-star review came. All of our hands are a little dirty. Yeah, I don't want to pick on people. We don't want to pick on people. But it's interesting. That's not the only kind of jab we've gotten that is a meme in our life. Yeah. There's anytime karma comes out, I'm like, karma is real. Kim knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. Oh, that was your last word. Was that your last word? Karma is, The Secret is real. Secret too? It's just Secret is, we should bring these up. Feels like a commercialized version of it. That like, and it's a little bit. So karma is like I just religion want things. Like The Secret is like, I wish I had a Lamborghini, and then like you'll get a Lamborghini, and you're like, what part? That's just like, what, I'm looking for a word. Materialistic. Yeah, you just want things, and you hope. Well, you can use The Secret to be materialistic. I don't know if it works, but I guess like the nicer reading of The Secret. So I mean, I think there's a lot of materialism around The Secret. Like it's just a magic spell you get. But like I said, like if you are kind of like, and I'm a believer, and we do this with our spreadsheets. We're like, I want to grow 20% per year. And you put it in a spreadsheet, and now it's kind of a real thing. And you think about it. Right. And you're going to look out for opportunities that will grow revenue and like, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I want, this in my life. And like if you really think about it, if you, write it down every day, it'll be on your mind. You'll be more open to seeing opportunities and following through on things, and you'll get what you want eventually. Mm-hmm. There's kind of like a version of The Secret where
just like positive visualization and
okay, like when you willed me. We talked about that on our very first podcast.
Did we talk about that story on the
Yes.
podcast?
The
When
very
you
first
guys
one.
went
You like willed me and the children to have a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like the monkey's paw. I haven't done that
Okay.
stuff. I haven't done that kind of visualization
Monkey
stuff.
paw.
We're jumping around.
You read too much.
But yeah, you make a wish. You're like, I want something, and you kind of like you're focusing on it, but you don't know how you're gonna get it. And like you may get it in a surprising way that you didn't really sign up for.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, that kind of stuff. It definitely, yeah, it's kind of real. I believe, yeah. I've been reading about magic and stuff, so we could get really into that. Or you could tell me about preparing the environment.
Okay. So we didn't lead with conversations about homeschool, but this relates to our homeschool. This relates to, you said you weren't we're gonna compete.
Oh, it goes in like everywhere. I should just say where it goes. Sorry.
I was thinking,
I should listen.
How are they going to compete with us? Was what I was thinking.
No,
but okay.
Of course they do. Yeah.
In any case, so our children prior to homeschool went to a Montessori school, and there's a philosophy in Montessori education about a prepared environment.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe too late to the homeschool conversation. We kind of I tried to start thinking about a prepared environment. And when we talked about those things, there were some that you were, accepting of, and some that you kind of were like,
So specifically.
So a specific example is the laptops, Chromebooks.
Okay. Yeah.
So some portion of their homeschool is online. It's not a formal online process. It's certain projects that we want them to do that require technology. So they have blogs, it's writing a blog. They have access to Google Docs, it's writing on Google Docs, writing scripts, writing stories. Our son's writing D&D campaigns. Our daughter, we wanted to give the opportunity to make like a robust photo book of a trip we recently took and learn that platform, learn the photos, write captions, and kind of go through that design process, kind of art, interesting social studies, locations, all of this hybrid.
Sure.
So I thought, is it a challenge to two kids that have MacBook Airs that they use for fun, for chat with our family, for browsing the internet, for browsing Amazon, for sometimes watching Netflix, sometimes watching YouTube, to say, well, this device during this window of time can only be used for these approved activities. And I know Minecraft is still on your system tray, and I know your dock is always called a Mac.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And I know you have access to that Discord chat with your friends, but during this window of time, like don't open those applications, just use these.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, are we preparing the environment for them by giving them a distinct device, almost like, you go to the gym and you're in a room that has only gym equipment. Like you're prepared to work out because you're in an environment designed for gym. So how do you prepare your technology to be successful?
Okay.
So we also did some other actual physical things. We, prepared the environment by getting out pencils. We prepared the environment by getting a pencil sharpener.
Yeah.
I bought a smaller, like lower table desk with more comfortable school style chairs because it's an environment they're used to for education, and it's going to help them, I think, learn at school. So
I believe in this idea in general for kids in school, and also always, I'm struggling with it because it's nice when we're trying to build an office, because the idea is I go to the office, I'm in work mode, I'm in the place where I work. And it helps your brain. Like your brain kind of is, knows where it is and what it's supposed to do. It's hard. And that's true everywhere, like in the bedroom, if you only sleep in your bedroom, you're going to
You don't have a TV.
Yeah.
You don't bring your phone in your room.
So yeah, I believe in this idea in general. And then also like with respect to the kids in school, that it's important, and like, let's make that area downstairs as like the school area. And it is conflicting that it's also doubles as like where they play after school.
Right.
It's like kind of near, like they sit at the table kind of for school, and then
they can like see their gaming PC.
The desktop PCs there. Yeah. I guess I just disagree, like specifically with the laptops. I didn't think they use their Mac laptops, which are like our old MacBook Airs, which work really well.
Yeah.
that often.
Who's playing music?
Yeah, the kid.
They can't hear this, but we hear the background
No.
of like
so
rock and
I
roll.
didn't think they used their MacBook Airs outside of school that often, that it was an issue. They're mostly on desktop PCs for gaming, and they use like a Switch and stuff, and they watch videos like on TVs. Like every once in a while they use their laptop, but it's almost like it seemed like that's their school laptop and they happen to do these other things, you know, like, so we could make those laptops their school laptops. And then technically, like, I mean, I don't think you can run Minecraft really well on a Chromebook, but almost everything else is on the internet. Like you can definitely go on the Discord server and chat with your friends, and our Slack channel and chat with family, and you can look up memes on Google image search, and you can do all kinds of stuff on a Chromebook that is distracting, you know, that they're doing.
You can, but you haven't yet.
And so just mentally it'll help them. I mean, it's like, it's an expense to buy a new Chromebook. And they're not that expensive, but you know, I didn't know if it's worth the hassle and the expense. Oh, go ahead.
Our son's been using Discord illegally
every
every day. What? That's the right word.
Yeah, against the rules here. Yeah.
You know,
but
every day.
He could do that on the Chromebook. It's not like having a Chromebook will help him. He'll just load up the Discord in a tab. And
but like it has given him like stress and sadness. You know, I think like the piece of this that he's not saying is the argument that let them give them the chance. Okay, go ahead. Use your words.
Yeah. So you're right. Like, so here's this idea: is like, we're talking about you talking to your friends on Discord when you should be doing school. This is like an issue that's coming up in the school environment there, and one thing you could do with kids when there's an issue, and this is a really good idea oftentimes, is like distract them or change the scene or get rid of the issue. Yes. Like if you could just delete Discord from the earth, you know, like problem goes away, and maybe that's okay. They don't really need Discord potentially. I think he kind of does. He socializes with new friends he found. So, but in general, you could just avoid the issue if you can. Why not? And like that's kind of maybe what you're suggesting is like if we just had a Chromebook and said there's no Discord, it'd be easier. But what I think is like, every time there's a problem, that's an option, but it's not the only thing to do. Like this is a quote unquote learning opportunity to help the kids address that problem. Like, can my child
learning opportunity on you sometimes, like when you don't want to
when I don't like
pull weeds.
Yeah,
this is like,
learn weed technique.
I might not always pull your weeds.
Are you tired and struggling? Like, this is a learning opportunity. Tough it out.
Keep going.
But it is the idea there is, you know, can our son learn, like as an adult, he's going to have to manage his work and social activities, you know, in a way. And you kind of made an analogy of me on Twitter. Like I have to manage my Twitter addiction in a way and not get distracted by Twitter in the middle of the workday, and stuff like that. So like, if that's an analogy, you know, and it's, so I was like, hey, is this an opportunity? Like, can we help Isaac to, you know, figure this out? Like, can we like have some faith in him? He can figure it out. Like, just say, hey, you're not supposed to do that.
We're talking about an 11-year-old.
And will he have the willpower? Now, I think that's a good point.
Anyone knows an 11-year-old boy, just imagine their willpower now, just for a moment.
But so it is,
there's none.
It is bad if we, so there's a learning opportunity there, but maybe it is too soon, or maybe it's not really possible, or maybe pick your battles. It's not the one we want to fight right now, because there's a chance that like we try, hey, you really can do it. You can ignore this thing while you're, and maybe it's not. He really can't for whatever reason. He's not old enough for his personality.
It happened 4 days in a row.
Like it's the addiction to like that social interaction and that stuff is too strong. Like he can't avoid it. And even if he can, it's like it's still in his brain distracting him. And like it's kind of cruel to put him through that if he's not going to be able to get through it, and it's distracting.
Like, you can set someone up to be successful, or you can set someone up to fail.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of family do we want? What kind of parenting do we want? What
it's
kind of school environment do we want?
Don't have cake on the counter.
Right. If you're on a diet.
Yeah. And like it's maybe I can have the willpower to avoid it, but like, man, like take that stress out of my life.
So I had some ideas for the laptops.
Okay.
And we should, you and I, this weekend, like take their laptops and redo their dock and redo their icons on their desktop. And I think make their icons very large.
That is like a school board.
Have it have links directly to their stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe the backdrop is their school schedule. So there's kind of this persistent present, easy way to navigate to the things that they need to access for school. The question marks aren't there. You can even in the backdrop put the password to BrainPop for Mary. Like things that, how can we prepare the laptop? If this is the laptop, you're not going to let us get Chromebooks. Okay.
Yeah. These old laptops are just as good.
Tell the laptop to be less tempting with the applications I can't use during school time.
Like,
put reminders on the screen in the background. Like these are not approved activities during
There's
this window.
also software to kind of say, don't allow this app to run during this time.
But that's a version of offense that
these websites.
Forces the learning opportunity to never happen, right? So if you still want the learning opportunity,
then don't do that. But there's a way to prepare the environment without buying separate hardware.
Okay. So that was my idea. That's my compromise.
Don't worry. Okay, we're gonna. That's a good idea. We got to do that for the desktops anyway, because I got a new desktop.
Yeah, I had a question about. So he got himself a new PC. Our daughter doesn't have a PC for like.
She kind of took over my PC.
Yeah,
like, I still use it every once in a while, but she,
I realize that some kids don't have a computer, and our kids both have a PC and a Mac. But that's okay.
Privilege.
But then I thought you better take that PC out of the box. But it doesn't work.
Oh.
Is there like a period of return window?
It's probably like a 30-day.
Yeah, you better like
Sunday.
Sign it up.
The idea is Sunday to reformat some of the old computers and get them set up for the kids, and then set this one up for me. And
my Silence Day is Sunday.
Oh shoot! Then I need to talk to you about.
Talk to me before.
Just physically, like where the computers are going to go. Are we going to put them next? There's two next to each other. We're going to squeeze one in the middle, or how are we going to do that? On the tables down there, we got to figure that out. And we're all, this is like, you're going to get PC and game with us too.
I don't want a PC and a game.
This is like my fantasy. Like me and my kids, we're all on PCs. We're playing games. Okay.
I joked about the vow of silence. That's not on the thing. We should, that's a good bonus topic.
Man, we got a lot though.
I know.
Do you want to skip
how much time?
The vow of silence? Let's skip this one.
Which, are you sure? Okay.
And talk about the vow of silence.
Okay. So.
What? Yeah, go ahead.
I read a book called 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. She also wrote, what's it called? The Husband's Secret. She wrote Big Little Lies, I think it's a series also now. And they're going to make a series or a feature Netflix film with Nicole Kidman of this book, 9 Perfect Strangers. But it's, the stories of 9 distinct people who go to a health retreat. But it ends up being like a really
going bad. It's a
crazy experience. Okay. It's going to be a cool series. But in any case, there's a portion of the book that the strangers at this retreat are like not allowed to speak for 5 days. Silence. And the idea is that it's like your monkey brain. I mean, it's fiction, but I think most fiction that tries to talk about
this is a real
Eastern medicine tries to
quiet. No.
There are places you can go. Like you found one in Arizona, that Kripalu in Massachusetts.
Okay.
I looked it up. They're closed for COVID. I was like, I'll go there and I'll be silent there. But anyway, the idea of a complete, not allowed to speak vow of silence for a period of time is really appealing to me because we have a team, we have this business, we do this thing. There's a lot of talking in our life. So I think it would be interesting to dedicate some of my week to silence, but hard probably for the family. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to do it Sunday. And it was prompted by, I had many work calls this week, more than I usually do, of things I'm trying to queue up. And we had some people over last night. We're having some people tomorrow for the Kentucky Derby. So I know that there'll be a lot of talking over that span of time. So I'm going to try it on Sunday.
Do you think you need, like you said, if you just try to live your normal life, but quiet, I'm going to be like, Kim, can you nod in the direction where you want me to put the computer? And
I think that would be enough.
That's okay. Just to like rest your vocal cords and like you still will get some mental rest as well? Or do you need to, lock yourself in the
I think it's more about metering what I say and the conversations I initiate, not the conversations that others initiate. I think I could go a full weekend. You guys wouldn't even notice. You'd just all be fine. No one would notice that I wasn't talking if I didn't need to ask you to Did the kids brush their teeth?
Yeah, like only I think I asked the kids if they brush their teeth. I try to get the kids to clean up and stuff too.
I don't want you to feel stressed.
The kids don't do that for me,
silence.
but like like you want that part of your interaction in the house of
I want to ask
asking people to do
if
things.
anyone
You
wants
won't
to
be able
go on a dog walk, like I'll just go. Does anyone want to? I'm going to the grocery store. Does anyone need anything? I won't ask, and I probably shouldn't text talk either. You know?
Oh, maybe that's true. Yeah, you don't want. It's like how much? But
it takes longer than a day to
if
like
it's a little
silence your
hard.
monkey brain.
Yeah. I think it'll be an interesting experiment anyway. But yeah, try to set the rules, and if
I
you
like
cheat,
it,
I don't know if that
it would
ruins
be good
It's just like a value.
if we all try it once. You know,
We did when we were on like the hike. Yeah, when we were on
tried
that.
for like a minute.
Yeah.
I was just trying to distract them.
They lasted like 30 seconds.
I
It was
know.
like, can I take a break from the no talking? It's just like,
We'll see.
I think that's. I mean, I'm a proponent of trying to ease your monkey mind. I meditate, and that's part of it is to kind of like calm yourself down.
Yeah.
And slow things down. Take a step back, and you don't have to, react to everything the way that you normally do. And the more I find, the more I meditate in various ways, like that's one of the benefits. Is things seem to like slow down a little bit, and you get like another like quarter of a second to catch yourself before you get heated. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work.
Keep meditating.
And it is like if I don't for a while, then I'm like, oh man, I really need to, so I can.
Like the wick gets shorter or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll do that. You
Next week we can talk about how I wasn't silent. On
5
Sunday,
or 6 on that. What do you want to do?
basically.
6. You want to talk about 5 a little bit? We can try to rest.
Yeah,
we
go
got
ahead.
time.
We'll
We're
go
like, okay.
The pizza's not here.
Yeah, we're going to get pizza after this.
We had a team call. Everyone said what their favorite food was. It was like pizza. Everyone loves pizza.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That's my favorite food.
What is the? Yeah, never mind.
Sorry,
I have like dirty jokes, but
dirty jokes.
here's some dirty pizza jokes. I'll tell you later.
Don't make pizza bad for me.
Okay, so this next topic we just finished yesterday our Q4 bets. I think we talked about it before. We're using the base cam people wrote a book called Shape Up, talking about their process for project management, basically.
Right.
And we've been followed along in some form of that now since January. And this is our 4th iteration of it, I think, maybe 5th, 4th. And so we made bets for what we're going to do for the next 6 weeks. And I think it's interesting. I said bets on our notes here. And they're like, you mean pitching? And I was like, oh, they're pitches before.
Now they're not.
Now they're bets. When they were bets at the table.
Okay.
And now we chose which bets we're going to make for the next 6 weeks. And so in layman's terms, what that means is we wrote up like ideas for development and sometimes marketing activities and sometimes, other types of plans, like emails we're going to write, blog posts we're going to publish, like around, things we want to do for the next 6 weeks. And then we got together as a team, some of the people on our team, and kind of talked about them and voted for like what we wanted to do the most, which was everything but one thing. And that's how it works out.
No.
And then we put it into a schedule, like, okay, for the next 6 weeks, this is what everyone is working on. So, and it was at the subscription table. That was David's got left behind.
That's going to happen.
Yeah. Did you have any thoughts about how that went? Or how it feels? It still feels like a little.
I think that we are like pre-betting.
Right.
Too much. Maybe. Or not. I don't know. It's hard because nobody wants to pitch something. I don't want to pitch something that derails everyone else's passion for their pitch. I want to know that going into it, I want to know that the thing I'm advocating for is possible, and the thing that so-and-so is advocating for is also possible, so that no one leaves with a sour taste, And so it's like I said to you before, I was like, it just feels like
Excuse me.
like one-handed clapping. Like it's like it's a show. I said, like pitching a show.
Right. Okay. Because we had like
I was surprised.
We had 10 things lined up, and we pitched 10 of them, and we did 9 of the 10. So it's like,
isn't that a show? Like,
why do we go through the process of writing them up and talking about them for a couple hours if we
still think that process is valuable.
Okay.
But
so it's like
at least on this cycle, no one pitched anything completely off.
But we set up the cycle that way. We said, hey, like the last one was pretty tough.
Right.
We tried to tackle some big things, and some of them worked, and a few of the bigger ones didn't. Like we didn't launch them yet. Let's calm down and do kind of easier, kind of maintenance style issues. And something that is like timing wise, like the site-wide sales stuff is like, well, we have to launch this before Black Friday, so we're so it was set up, and I don't think it's it's a bad thing that's the case, that like we only pitch things that we were pretty sure was going to, like, I think it's okay. And it's not always going to work out that way. Sometimes, like, I think in some other betting cycles, people can kind of swing for the fences and be like, here's a crazy idea I've been thinking about. And I took the time to write it up.
Right.
To see how we can do it. Like we had, I don't know, like it's okay if sometimes we just like the next step is pretty obvious because we've been talking about it forever. Let's just do the obvious thing.
Yeah.
We don't have to like reinvent the business every
time.
2 months.
I just felt like, and I told you this, that you were let down by that process in a way.
This last betting cycle.
Yeah.
But I was also kind of like consciously sitting out. Like,
right. But then I think like you didn't, I don't know.
Oh, like I'm not getting what I want? Because I'm like, I'm okay. I feel good about how it worked out.
Or maybe that we're not understanding pitching well enough for you, or have we not like internalized the concept of pitching well enough for you, or are we not adhering to the concept of shape up
for me
close enough?
Oh, what
for you?
Why? Because I think sometimes like
when you don't like the way a pitch is written, or the vagueness, like the how like it's too bird's eye, like details like that you don't.
I mean, I'm trying to make it better.
Yeah.
Like one of the pitches was a little vague.
Right.
And I think part of the idea is to shape it up and say, we're not just gonna like, I don't know, like it's hard to talk about.
Pick on mine.
Pick on yours.
I won't care.
Was yours fake? Oh, like or one of yours. Oh, thanks, yeah. Okay. You it was like marketing.
You completely changed my pitch.
Site-wide sales. Yeah. Yeah. And I had a pitch that was okay. Well, maybe get very specific. I had a pitch that was over the next 3 weeks, write 5 blog posts about site-wide sales, or over the next 6 weeks, write 10 posts about site-wide sales.
Okay.
Here's a bunch of topics, straightforward Q&A.
Right. That
was my pitch for marketing. It's like, and it was pretty specific, like this is what you should do. And I said like why that's a good idea to do it.
Okay.
So then you had a more general pitch around, here's all the marketing stuff we need to do for site-wide sales. And there was even some dev work in there.
Yes.
And then we had this idea we're going to launch, there's going to be like a launch, like an official launch for site-wide sales. And you tried to include that as well in some sense, maybe, or some version of like email campaigns that would compete with the launch. So when you pitched before, you were still pitching it, you wrote it up, I read it, and you said like, hey, should I put your emails in mine? And I was like, I kind of like that mine's like its own thing.
Stands alone. And
I think that's okay. Like if 2 things are related, but like one is like self-contained, let's do that, because we might decide to do one and not the other. So like might as well keep it separate. Why not? It doesn't have to be, like we'll pitch them both,
Okay.
So that was part of it, was like, I didn't want you to just absorb mine into yours. Like, I was like, I felt mine was like pretty good, not perfect, but like in a sense, like, it's pretty straightforward. Like let's not, because that would be confusing. We'd say like all this other stuff you're adding, we don't want to do, but we still want those emails. Now we got to rewrite it. Anyway, so that I didn't want you to absorb mine. Let's keep them separate. We can have 2 that are related, but and then I nixed some of the launching type stuff,
right? Because
I thought we could launch, just timing wise, I wanted to launch after, like, not now. It's better to launch after these next 6 weeks.
That feels dangerously close to Black Friday.
It is dangerously close to Black Friday.
That is.
It is what it is.
It's over.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't invent weeks.
Yeah, I think it's it's kind of it's our task to do both the marketing stuff and dev stuff we ended up saying we would do, and those emails.
And that was kind of a new thing you like stuck in, like a new dev thing, that whole like migration.
Yeah. So I took some of your stuff out and I put stuff in. Yeah.
I gotta do that now. And I was thinking I would have this like dev light cycle, and I was also pitching kind of I knew that I wanted to be involved in someone else's like marketing heavy cycle. It was interesting. I don't know. I think it's like
that's a process
only for like a person like me that fills multiple roles.
Yeah.
Like you kind of want to design the projects that you're going to be involved in so that they aren't completely depleting in one area. You know, you don't want just like development, like nonstop.
Right.
And you don't want just writing, you know?
Yeah.
It helps me to have a little bit of both. And
right. So
but it's weird to design the pitch work you're going to be responsible to do, but
changing it for you,
you know, and just like want to pitch the stuff that you feel like doing, or you know, you kind of come into I don't know if the Basecamp people have to experience that, because the people pitching aren't necessarily the doers also.
Right. It's
right.
More
like they're not
and as much
doing it, so they can.
But I think sometimes maybe like a middle manager would pitch something at Basecamp.
Mm-hmm.
And someone who's been there longer, will say, that's a great idea. But kind of like I said, like, oh, it's a good idea to market to the existing customers. But
in this way,
this dev thing seems important now. Yeah. Or, you know, or I had an idea about the launch already and the timing of it and the nature of it, and it doesn't match with this. So if you keep it the way, I mean, this is also confusing that we're the co-owners and also I'm kind of like handing off the CEO reins.
Yeah.
But the idea is that if I'm still like the decision maker around this, or just because on this case, I kind of had an idea already.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, if you pitch this, it doesn't line up with what I thought. So I'm not going to accept it. So let me give you a heads up, take this out, put this in. Now it feels more in line with like the business in general, or you know what I mean? Like the other stuff going on. And that'll happen. Like, I feel like it probably happens in the other direction. A similar thing that you say is like, we need to have more of like the documentation and marketing that has to happen around the pitches, in the pitches. And part of that I push back saying like, it's a bet. Like if we just develop it, it doesn't mean we're going to launch it. So don't get ahead of yourself and start marketing it already, or, you know, or writing documentation. We need to see where we end up with code wise, and then let's take the time to pitch, document, and it's like it slows things down, which hurts, but also like I guess it could create a situation where we're like, you know how like the next 2 weeks we have an opportunity to take a vacation, like this thing's done and I really would like to launch it now. You should write some documentation. And you're like, you could have told me 6 weeks ago what documentation you needed. But then it's a good point. That's you trying to shape the pitch, saying like, hey, like if you're going to pitch, and we've been doing that, it's like, you got to tell us a little bit, like some of these things need to be done at the same time. Because this, Jason, I don't know if you're aware of it, but this is the way that your business works. We write emails and documentation this way. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. So
I think it would just help. That specific scenario would help me not be the end of the road across the board. It would help our marketing team have more visibility along the development. Right. You know, they could insert themselves into it, and like I do, and like watch it happening and asking questions. But if it's not formalized that that's their role, they're not doing that. So that's just me because I read. But I feel follow those.
It can be dangerous because some of the development work we did, like around Stripe Connect and Stripe webhooks, you know, we were like, oh, this is all going to be together. It's going to kind of work like this. If some documentation was built around that, we're like, nope, actually, that didn't work. I don't even know if it needs to be built along, like there's a time and the place.
Parallel. It just needs like
to be communicated.
To be.
Hey, this is on the radar.
Aware and on your radar, and like living with it, understanding it for a few weeks more.
Yeah.
Along the process really helps.
You should share like development updates, just like, hey, FYI, this is how we're doing. And we kind of do in the project.
Or just meetings, have me or one of the other two people, like the point person, so that they maintain their awareness of the development along the way.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, I think we're figuring out like, oh, you should get the last word. I'd have a point. Like I was going to reiterate again that it's actually they're bets. And part of the bet is that, you know, it's not a given, like it may or may not work out. And so that's
I'm not a betting.
I think that's something you struggle with, where it's like, we said we're going to do stuff. Why aren't we doing it?
Yeah.
It's like, well, in the middle of doing it, we realize it's harder than we thought, or like it's complicated, or this other thing seems more important, or this person we thought could do it can't do it. And like, it changes. And and part of like a really important part of the shape up is to kind of like, well, you said it was going to take 3 weeks, and they spent a lot of time talking about this in the book. What normally happens is like, I think it's going to take 3 weeks, and then you almost get there, but you don't. And you take 3 months to finish instead, because that's how you draw it out. And part of shape up is like, nix it. It didn't work. Next, if it really is important, you're going to pitch it next meeting, next cycle.
And you'll know more, and your timeline will be more accurate.
Yeah. So I'm often like interjecting and like how we react to be like, hey, remember, like, it's okay maybe that we did this work and we didn't, push it out yet. But it doesn't feel good for you. We'll get there eventually. I mean, this is the pace of open source software, people. I tell our customers that. Do you want to talk about
very slowly, then all at once?
Oh, we're an hour in. But do you want to talk about any of those? Maybe too long.
That's just a weird idea. I had a topic called sleeping in shifts, which feels like what we're doing now, but we haven't formalized it as a sleeping method. And the one night I was going to like lock the dogs with me. I was like, you don't want to be in here because it's going to be wake up all night long, But I think when there is chaos like this, and when like the kids are getting us and the dogs are needing help, like this idea of shift sleeping could be interesting to consider.
We did it when our kids were very young.
Right.
Yeah. But when they were babies and crying.
I feel like it might return at certain points. So like,
we have like, I'm more often helping the kids go to sleep while you go to sleep. And I will like be ready to go to bed, but no, there's a chance the kids might get us. So I'm going to just hang out for an extra hour out here, reading, watching stuff before I move to the bed. And then you can fall asleep more quietly. Right. And so I'm like letting you fall asleep.
There is like shifts. That's a version of it.
And the other one is too, like if one of us is like so early in the morning, like if it's after 4. Yeah. And it's like, just get up and get out of there.
Once you get up, like you stay out.
Because the other person sleeps so much better when like some of the stuff goes. And that's why I try to get the dogs to come out with me, but they don't listen. They just want to be with you.
The kids go to you.
Yeah.
I wake up with the kids in the morning, so and you sleep in on most occasions.
Yeah, usually do the mornings. I
don't want this to sound like I'm like,
so we have,
he puts the kids to bed and I wake up.
We have aspects of that. But it's almost like, man, when you get up at like 6 and I sleep till 8 maybe sometimes, that 6 to 8 sleep is like awesome. Yeah. So it's like, how do we get that? Right. I know someone who, they sleep in different rooms or just 2 beds in the same room. And I'm like, I
just think that feels really sad.
It is sad, but I'm like, I get it. What was that, like Lucy, the like to show Lucy, the big friend was like, is this real? They sleep in different beds. I was like, man, I kind of get it. Like, she probably doesn't complain about like the bed creaking when he gets in the bed because she's not there. And like, I was like, I kind of get it. And if you want to be in bed together, you come into the other bed, and then it's almost like when we used to live different.
That's true.
You live apart. You're like, I'm going to see Kim. I'm going to like put on my good shirt. I'm going to make sure like my armpits don't smell, like and you get ready, and there's always, like you're getting ready to see each other. And like when you're dating and you don't live together, every time you see each other, you're a little bit on. But then when you live together, you see each other 24/7, even like when you're not on. And some people are like surprised by that, or it doesn't go well. But yeah, there's an aspect of that of like, if we want to, fall asleep together, talk in bed,
it never happens.
Be together or whatever,
but shift sleeping
next to each other, or other
things
the
new thing. There's going to be a new book, like intermittent fasting. It's going to be like, there are books about
the marketability of this is pretty fun. Sleeping in shifts.
So
you could just have one bed. You could like in San
in,
Francisco,
right?
like a 1-bedroom apartment. It's like, I only need 1 bed. People could do it. I think there are places like
we have a member of our team that I think he kind of sleeps like not like a full 8-10 hours at night. Like he sleeps in, what's that called?
Polyphasic sleep.
Okay.
Is that called? Yeah. We have like 2 sleep phases or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this could like time to that so that each person,
but
then one person would be available for like kid intercepting,
Yeah.
Whether or not you're the parent that gets up in the middle of the night with the kid, like if you're in the same room with the person getting woken up by the kid, you're still affected by it. So it's this.
I don't know. I felt like I was a little far away from it. Yeah, you're still affected by it. Yeah, it wakes you up.
That's all. You want to try it?
You know, trying to do that. Like,
we'll go back to the cabin where we just slept well.
We'll see.
Oh,
I don't know what shift do you want? Like, I guess I used to be a night owl. I could stay up and get work, but
I can wake up
early.
4 or 5.
When
I can wake up.
When I was a bachelor, or like even in high school, I did like a polyphasic type thing, and I felt like it like helps your mood a lot. Like it's interesting. Like it really regulates a lot of things, and you can get by on less sleep. Like you could do 6 hours and a 1 hour nap instead of 8 hours, or like 2-3 hour shifts is as good as 8 or 9 hours. I can wrap it up here. I'll think about it.
Goodbye.
Oh, you're back. Do we have an official sign off? Man, we're over time, but next week I hope we should have like a title card and an intro and do production values. That was my bonus topic, but maybe we'll just work on that in between.
Okay. Cute.
We have a name. We're gonna stick with this. That talking
I like
thing.
It.
What's it? TTT. And 3 T's. Let's do it. That talking thing. I like it. It's cute. And we'll wrap this up into podcasts and push them out and maybe move. We'll have to talk to if we want to do seasons. That's like a fun thing to do. So like you're only gonna do 10 seasons. So
you get like
and you
a
can
break.
take off and stuff. Yeah.
10 episodes, 1 season.
Yeah. But in my mind, like this has gone well. We're just figuring it out in some of the things, but we're in a little bit of a rut.
The name kind of comes from we wanted to have an hour focused life all of our conversations are mixed life, work, family. We don't.
Yeah, but it really was more, it's like we need like a time to just talk about things and like put away, all the interruptions and have the kids distracted so that we don't get distracted. Besides the dogs, we don't get distracted.
This is us
and we can really
undistracted.
Talk. Yeah, exactly. It's like, and then we're like, other people would want to sit in and listen on some of these topics. So let's try.
But there's accountability. We talked about that previously. The accountability of saying you'll broadcast every Friday. Because we tried every Wednesday and we were like talk time, and I think we even called it that.
It's really easy to talking. Be like, well, I'm too busy. Yeah. Now it feels, well, this is us. We have to make everything a business.
It works.
Or something. It's helping. All right. I hope you enjoyed it. We did.
Thanks. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Now we awkwardly sit here while it ends.